to listen.
Teacher Chatter.
This is Robin.
And Jill.
And we missed you last week.
Yeah. And no, this really is Jill. Just
I
in
know.
case it sounds a little off. That spring's hitting.
Yeah.
Like stuff's
I
in the air.
know.
And I feel fine. It's just.
You just sound
I
sexy.
sound. Yes. The kids were all like, your voice sounds deep today. I'm like, it's probably not really deep.
That's kind of deep.
Is it?
Yeah. For you.
For me.
For you.
Instead of my loud, yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine. We'll just let it be. So yes, it's really me, and I'm fine. Not passing along germs or anything. Just
I hope next week I don't tell you she's been out for a week. Because I'll be out a week too, because we're sitting really close to each
we're
other.
really
But that's
close.
all right.
All right. Well,
Well, we hope you had a great week off.
Yes.
And I don't think we've talked about the Super Bowl, have we?
no. I
Let's
mean,
listen.
here's the thing, and people that love the Chiefs might hate me with my next comment, but know that I love the Chiefs too.
I know you love the Chiefs.
They're not even that good this year.
No. And I have to say, the first half I looked at my family, I was like, this is actually really boring.
Yeah.
This is a boring game.
Yeah.
And then the last 3 minutes, the overtime was crazy.
What I just kept thinking was, 49ers, you're just giving them
I
a
know.
chance, giving us a chance here. And if you just give the little bit of light,
You're dumb.
yes, we're going to come back and win. So
Yeah.
I appreciate Chiefs Kingdom. I appreciate all the
Yes.
Chief players. Way to go. Way to represent. And now we're just we're expecting it.
You know what?
It's good to expect awesomeness.
I agree. High expectations. People work
Yes.
up to your expectations.
That's right. So
All
there
right.
you go.
So you're high and low.
Yes. So my low is my voice right now
Yes.
because it is hard.
Mhm. And is it scratchy too? Like you feel like you're having to drink a lot?
Yes. I mean, yeah. And it's just more like when I'm talking to the kids
Yes.
and we do it all day
And that's
long.
our job. There's no quiet time.
No.
You know?
So I was telling one of my students, they were like, well, Mrs. Weedle, maybe. I was like, you guys have to be chill today because I can't
Yeah.
talk loud. And they're like, well, if you lose your voice, maybe you just need to type. Just type all
Well, that would
of
be
your
fun.
thoughts. And I thought, yeah, that sounds
No,
like
thanks for playing.
a
No.
fabulous idea. So no. No, I guess I might have to though.
Well, you might have to.
It might come to it.
At least you have one more day and then it's a break. So
Yeah.
maybe
Get
you'll
some
rest.
Days off. Sure.
Yeah.
So that was it. My high is we had an assembly this last week, and there's a couple things with it. One, actually, we had two assemblies. We're just partying it up in the middle
Mhm.
school. There's just lots going on.
Living your best life.
Yeah. And so one high with it is that we had the choir come in for the guys' choir.
We had them too.
Yeah, they said they were making the tour.
It was very fun.
The boys on tour. And then we also had the band come over. And I will tell you, I actually wanted to shout out a little bit to North
Okay.
Elementary
Oh.
because they had 4 kids come up to speak about why you should join band, and 3 of them were North kids.
Oh.
And I say kids are junior, seniors
Shout
now.
out to
But
them.
I was looking and in the choir too, just seeing the kids that you've had in class and
I
just
know.
where they've developed. I know that again, they weren't like, oh, cool, Mrs. Weedle,
Yeah.
or anything like that. But it's just knowing that you have a little part
Yes,
in that
I
stuff
agree.
is amazing. And I know we've mentioned that several times, but
Yeah.
that was definitely it for me. On a different exciting note, I'm still emceeing the assemblies. So I get a mic the entire
They
time.
haven't taken it away from you
No,
yet.
and
They don't know that's an option.
well, they do, and it's every week, every time we have an assembly, they're like, "Hey, you're still going to be the MC," and they give me a gist of what I'm supposed to do, and then I just basically can go with my mic through the audience doing.
It's kind of like a talk show.
Yeah, it
That's
feels.
actually very nice.
I really like it, and
Yeah.
they sometimes people come to me and are like, I'm sorry that we keep putting this on you. I'm like, no, really,
Listen.
it's really fine. It's good. We're all good here. And yeah, a high for it though. We had them singing Disney songs, and I would put the mic in front of a kid's face. I was letting them volunteer. Some kids blew me away.
Wow.
I actually looked at the mic one time when a girl was singing to make sure it was on because she sounded like the Disney character.
Wow.
And they were just belting out in front of 400 some kids.
That's actually awesome.
It was amazing. So shout out to kids that can sing and are brave enough to do it.
Yeah,
So-
you know what? I do love that. And going back to the choir coming too,
Yes.
I love when you see some of those kids that has found a group to be a part of, that some of those kids you kind of thought worried about, or you just thought maybe they
Yes.
never, and see them a part of a group,
Yeah.
and they were so happy and so fun. And man, shout out to that teacher, because woo, there was a lot of energy.
Yeah.
A lot of energy in that choir group. And so
he had a lot of energy though.
Did you?
He was doing great with it.
Oh no, he was awesome. Like I
Yeah.
was so impressed. He handled all our elementary kids good, and he handled them well, and it was very impressive.
Yeah.
And they sounded great.
Mm-hmm. It was wonderful. What about you?
All right, so Milo.
Yeah.
Okay. So my Maddie is actually a really good driver. Like we don't worry about her. She's a great driver. So she's heading to school on Tuesday morning, and she calls me crying, and she said, "I hit a curb and busted my tire."
Oh.
I said, "Awesome." And I said, "Well, where did you?" She's like, "I'm pulled over on the side of the road." I actually tutor on Tuesday mornings. I said, "I'll come pull over by you. Dad will have to come because I've got to go."
Yeah.
So Dave came. We parked it over there. She came and got my car.
Curbs will get you.
Yes, and took my car to school. So we had then after school, Dave had to call AAA, move the car. Anyway, it's a mess.
Yep.
So that's bad.
Yes.
Like, and she was very upset.
Yes.
3:00, my phone rings. I said, "Hello." And she said, "Have you talked to Dad?" And she's crying. I said, "No." And she said, "I accidentally put your car in neutral. I hit it on neutral, and I backed up and hit a car." So in the morning, she had a pop tire. And listen, she's a great driver. And you know what I said?
My goodness.
I know you guys might. I know a lot of love and logic. That's a little old school things. It's not always the best purpose. But you know what I said? "Is everybody okay?" She said, "Yes." I said, "I'm going to let you go and calm down for a few minutes because I don't have anything nice to say right now. I'm going to calm myself down a few minutes."
Oh, my goodness.
Because I already knew David talked to her. I knew they'd talk things through. So, yes. So that was my week.
That's
and before I got
really
home,
bad. In the same day?
In the same day.
Oh, Robin.
And by the time I got home, our insurance company had already called because they've already filed for the insurance. So how great is that? So that's the low. And the good news is, well, the bad news and good news. Well, one good news is we had just put brand new tires on the car. So it was still under warranty. So we only had to pay $35. So that was a plus for the tire because we told her she'd have to pay for the tire because
that $35.
So she's lucky because it was like $200. What because you've been
you
the
should
rim
have
a little
lied to her
I
and told her that it was $200.
And the second thing is I have to be very careful because Maddie's a warrior and feels so horrible that I really didn't have to say any more. And in fact, Dave picked supper that night and it was some new meal. And Dave's like, Maddie's like, "What is that?" "Well, I like that." And I said, "Listen, you're going to love it because you popped a tire this morning and you had a wreck after school. It's going to be the best meal you've had. And that's what you're going to say when you eat it." And she's like, "Mom, that's so mean." I was like, "That's the truth. You're going to love it."
You know what? I love hearing other people's parenting stories. I feel like I'd be the same way. Like, you have something to say right now after all that today has happened, but it does depend on.
Oh,
the kid,
mother, I was
obviously,
because like
but,
I mean
man.
I was pretty because like she's such a good driver and really like and at the OIC they back up right to each other like she was stopped and then she just when she took her brake off it just slid right back so it was not a lot of damage but still I was like, oh, mother of pearl.
That
so,
OIC is
listen,
it's
a
like,
nightmare. It's a nightmare.
I have heard lots of wreck stories. Why isn't you going on the bus?
That's what I said.
Because I just had a conversation with a high school teacher about it, and they're like, well, the kids don't, it's not cool or whatever. But they're like, I wish more people would because
100%.
I mean, I'm gonna have to be like forceful in this. I mean, I'm sure that my kids will.
Let me know how that works for you.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I know. I'm not gonna say it's gonna happen because
I hope. You know,
I hope. I really want it to.
And I hope you stay strong. I do. Anyway, my high.
Gosh. High schoolers.
Oh, mother of pearl.
I'm gonna have one next year.
Listen, it's a different world.
Yes,
it's a different world.
Okay, what's the high? Let's get
anyway
to the
high.
Stuff.
The good stuff. You know what? I some people in my school we started a bunco group.
Oh.
And we had our first bunco last night.
Yeah.
So fun. It was such a good time.
Are you going like different houses?
We are. We're each month we're doing once a month.
Yeah.
And we're different houses. We started our first one yesterday. And it's just a great thing. And I am going to encourage, like, if you're looking for something to do, well, one thing, it's 12 players. So there's 12 people in your school that can do it. So that's a big group. And then we have alternates that come in and fill in. But one thing I love is you're constantly moving tables, so you really get to know people. It's not, I think sometimes when you have outings, groups set together, like the team sets together and it's kind of cliquish.
Yeah.
But this was a great way because people constantly moved and stuff.
Yeah.
And you have 3 ways to win. I don't know if you ever played bunco.
Yeah.
So
It's been
I
a
was the
while.
biggest loser. So I walked away with $35.
Oh, you guys have money on the line.
Oh, we bring $10. Everybody brings $10.
Oh, wow.
So the winner won 50, 35 for loser.
But Bunko,
and
like,
swing.
there's not really, like, it's just kind of luck of the draw.
Oh, it's a total luck of the draw.
That's what I was gonna say. That's the other part. That
No,
is,
it's pure.
I
And you can
guess
kind of talk while you're playing a little
Yeah.
bit. Like it just was a fun thing. So you know what? It was a fun thing for my school this week.
Nice. I support that.
Thanks.
And, you know, like what's going through my mind right now is like I would love to do that,
Uh-huh.
but I think it would have to be an alternate because
Yeah, and that's a nice thing is you can because
I would love to do it every month.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know if it would work
yeah,
with
it
my
gets busy.
schedule, but one
But-
day.
But I thought even like I was even thinking if this, I think it'll work out. But even if you did it once a quarter,
Yeah.
and just have like, hey, tonight's going to be Bunko night. Even if you had several groups, like you could do that.
Maybe if I create the Bunko group, I can schedule whenever I want to do it.
You're the
Works
boss.
around my
You're the
schedule.
boss. Hey,
Works around my schedule.
you get
So
to
I
pick.
can do Bunko
Hey, yeah, do it.
once a quarter. Okay.
I thought that's a
I'll
fun thing.
process through that.
You know what? I'll share my Bunko game if you ever want to play it.
Okay.
Okay.
Good to know.
All right. So those are the highs. So this week we were trying to think of things. Well, the reason I'm going to talk about this is because it's becoming the end of the year.
Yes.
And I do a duty that's a little tricky we're going to talk about, but I had a friend come and say, hey, someone's retiring. I want in on this duty. What do you do to get me on this duty? And I thought, hey,
And
let's talk about the best.
that's not
and
the
worst.
only reason we're talking about duties.
No.
It's because we got the idea.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody gave us the idea.
We did ask. Well, because she was in here with me, but we asked our board of directors.
Yeah. Our board of director.
Is that there?
We're just making stuff
A
up,
panel.
guys.
Our panel.
Panel.
Yeah, panel people. And we said, hey, give us an idea. And they said, you don't already have an idea for the day? And I was like, no, we don't today.
That's
Life's busy.
yeah, things happen.
So-
And really we just wanted to have to say duty and duties
Oh my gosh.
as much as we could
There's my middle school teacher.
and make sure that everybody recognizes what we're talking about. Because who doesn't love saying duty and duties?
Obviously not you.
I like that. I might be the middle school teacher, but you're the behavior interventionist.
You know what? That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
you have more words that you
Listen,
have to deal with than
Duty's
I do.
clean. Duty's a clean word. I don't know what that word means. that's,
right.
that's too appropriate for me.
That's
I can't
right.
say it.
There's so much truth to that.
Anyway, yes. All right. So we're going to talk about the best duties in a school and the worst duties in a school.
Yes.
And this is kind of, I'm anxious to see if we think it's the same or is it just elementary, middle school, like, you know what I mean? Things
Yeah.
like that.
Can
So-
I first say for anybody that's going into education, there's a part on the contract that says all duties assigned.
Yes. And listen, you're going to have a duty. So you need to know that. I don't care who you are. If they don't tell you in the interview when you do not,
You should ask.
you are going to have a duty.
But you should ask.
You should ask because,
because
listen,
you need
there
to
are
have,
some that's good and there's some that aren't.
or just like recognizing what could come into your life. Like
Yes.
you need to
Be
know.
prepared. You need to be prepared.
Right. So I just think it's important.
I think it's a good question to
Okay.
ask. So now when on that interview questions, when they're like any questions for me, you should say,
What?
what extra duties will I have?
Yes. We're helping you
Yes.
so much.
You will sound so intelligent and
yeah,
so
like
proactive.
you actually care.
Yeah. Well, really, you'll want to know if you want to cry and take another job or do this. So
Before I accept this position.
tell me what my duties are.
Oh my gosh. Yep.
Okay. So,
All
and
right.
listen, duties usually get switched around too from year to year. Do you guys switch around or you guys keep the same duty? Well, it depends. 'Cause I feel like let's take this. Regular ed teachers usually keep the same duty all the time.
Yeah, sometimes though, you're building, like if your building's changing some different things, then
Yeah.
there might be some extra duties that come along.
In
with
my
it.
world,
Can we
get
find another
switched
word
up.
for duty?
Let's see.
extra
Assignments,
extra assignments. Okay.
responsibilities.
Extra responsibilities.
Okay, responsibilities.
Other
Okay.
responsibilities. So like I'll give you a situation. We had certain teachers that have extra assignments in the morning.
Yes.
Okay. And so like that would be breakfast,
Yes.
watching the door,
Yeah.
greeting kids as
Yeah.
they come in. In the past, our teachers were in the classroom and kids would then just come
So you were,
to
yes.
the classroom. This year that changed.
Okay.
And now there is the regular morning assignments, but
Yeah.
now we have a gym duty.
Okay.
Okay. But you only have it once for you have it a whole week, but once every 6 weeks.
So you have it for a whole week, but just okay.
So
1 week's bad, but then you're done.
yes.
Okay.
So 1 week you have a gym
And you
full
know-
of all of the
And it's exhausting, but then your break for
Kids.
5 weeks you're off.
yes.
I like it.
So that is doable.
Yeah, I think that's doable.
And that's like not a
Okay.
big deal, but that changed because
Yeah.
in the past it was like I just had all of my students coming to
In
my
your
room and you had all those things.
Yes.
But now you have the extra working time in your classroom when you don't have duties
Okay.
or you're working with your team. So that's how life can change and you don't always know when those
What are the things?
duties might change from year to year, I guess is what I'm saying. But you're right. Overall, I think it's pretty consistent.
Okay. So,
So,
here we go. We're gonna
okay.
start with the best. You know what? Let's end with. Let's
I
start
think
the
that
worst.
one might be the best
Okay.
if you have it once every
Okay.
6 weeks.
Okay, I think that's true.
For a week
I like
straight.
that. I like to just get it done with. That's how I
Yeah.
feel. Okay.
I don't know if it's the best. I can't decide. I
Uh,
don't know that I can rank things, Robin.
Well, would it go? That would be going on the best side. It may not be the best,
Yeah.
but it's on the best side.
Yeah.
Okay, when we're talking.
Because I don't know that any of them are wonderful.
Yeah, well, listen, everybody'd rather just be in the room and do nothing.
Well, I would be okay with like a greeter, like a
Oh,
you know, like
listen, that's one of mine.
okay.
One of the best ones is the person that's at the front door inside,
Yes.
just saying good morning to people.
I agree with
Yeah.
that. And I was gonna say actually I would accept that position
Yeah.
because I want to say hi.
Oh,
wanna
I think that's the best.
enjoy. Oh, how are you doing? Oh, you look
But you
so
don't have to
cute
go
this morning."
outside.
Yeah.
And you get to just be friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they go past you to the area where they're wanting to hang out.
Yes. Yeah. but you don't see it. It's not your problem.
No, my problem is
100%.
I agree. That is a great one to have. I support that. So what about
Okay. What's another good one?
well, I don't know. I mean, recess duty. What do you think of it?
I'm actually a fan of recess duty.
Okay.
I like it.
I think it goes on the better side.
I think it goes on the better side because I think it also depends how you do it.
Mhm.
Like I think some people do it like some people have it in the morning, some have it in the afternoon every day. We did it where you had like one day a week that you had it all day, but then you're off the rest of the week.
Yes.
So I think it depends how you have it. But honestly, I'm a fan of recess duty.
I think it's all about how you do that as well. And I think
Yeah.
that goes with like the morning duty that I was talking
Yeah.
about. Like my team, when
Yeah.
we did have recess, we would do it was like on day 4s or whatever.
Yeah.
That was
Your day.
my day.
And you knew it was
so-
bad, but you had it all day, then you were done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
and
how I
then
like it too.
And then it was fine.
Yeah, that's how I like it
But
too.
I don't think back when I was in the elementary world, I wouldn't have wanted to have it all week long.
No, I wouldn't want
And
to.
then have 5 weeks off.
No way.
I don't know.
No, that would
because
not
there's
be a
just
good
so much you got to do.
You do, and you only have a little bit of time.
Mhm.
You have to go to the bathroom because you can't just elementary. You can't just. You have to be.
I think another difficult part about these extra activities that you've got to supervise
Yes.
is when you do switch and somebody else takes the job, everybody does it so different.
I agree. I
And
agree.
so like you
well, even pod to pod, or oh,
Yes.
you mean the actual duty?
yes, the actual duty
Oh, I
is
agree.
somebody else. You've worked it,
I agree.
got it
I
in
agree.
a good spot, and
I
then somebody
actually agree.
else slides in, and
I
maybe
agree.
maybe they aren't as happy
No,
greeting
I agree.
people, or they're not as like you do things this way.
Listen, we're gonna actually talk about that when we get to the worst duty. About
Okay,
that, okay.
but that's huge.
I think that plays a huge thing.
Because our morning
That's-
one
that-
that we have right now, the kids are like they know when my team
Yes.
comes in, you're gonna be in
Yes.
your line, you're gonna go in
yes,
the next
I
spot,
agree.
and you're just gonna deal with it
I agree.
because things aren't happening.
And
on
that's the
our
only thing
watch.
that would be nice to have it for all week
yes,
because you're the boss that week and you
Yes.
can line them up and then you have 5 weeks of not worrying about
yeah,
it.
and I tell the kids that
Yeah.
I'm like, we're
This is our
here
role.
this week,
Yeah.
you know the job, and
Yeah.
they're like, why can't I sit by my friends? I'm like, because that's not your next spot in
Yeah.
line.
Yeah, I agree.
So they may not like it that whole week,
No.
but they're fine.
I do. Another great hall is the hall duty. I think the person has to stand in the hall and just say, please walk. Because it's kind of like the good morning door duty.
Yeah,
Hey, slow down. Have a good day.
yeah.
Especially in the elementary world.
Well, I've thought about that for my job next year.
Yes.
It's right there where
Yeah.
there's a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
And actually, I want to
No,
be
great.
out there.
Yeah.
And I know there's things that can go down, but
No.
having an adult
Yeah.
will help that not
Oh,
go
it helps
down.
a lot. Yeah.
And I want to say hi to people.
Yeah.
I want to say, hey, how
I
are you
love it.
doing?
I love it. Yeah.
So I can agree with that. I wonder if this is different. I think it is different from like building to building. Like in your building, though, you don't have to worry about like somebody holding
Fighting or-
hands or kissing
Oh, no.
or
No, that's true.
like fighting
No,
in the
no.
hallway.
No,
Mine
we really
is-
just running.
Mine's getting there
Oh,
for
yeah.
some of that stuff.
That's a
where-
different. That's a different thing.
Yeah, but I mean, I still feel good about it. I mean, like, Nanette, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
The love
Yeah.
story? Get
Yeah.
out of here. Like,
This is not the Hallmark Channel.
yeah. And then they're like, oh gosh. And then they know not to
Not do
hold
it.
hands.
And
in
at least
that
when
area.
you're around.
That's right.
That's right.
Mhm.
Another great duty, I think, is breakfast duty.
Ah,
Because, honestly, they're quiet.
Yeah.
They're still kind of calm.
yes.
So if you're going to have one, like
Yes.
you're inside, so you're not outside,
Mhm.
you just kind of say, hey, finish it up. Everybody
Yeah.
finish up. It's
That is
kind
a
of
pretty
nice.
calm one.
I think that's a good one.
Yes, I could agree with that. What about bus duty? Having to take the kids out to the bus.
I actually don't mind the bus duty either.
Mm-hmm.
I
I mind
depends
it.
how you do it.
I was gonna say, here's when I mind it.
Okay.
I mind it when there's kids in my room when it's not a structured time, and then they just sit there and there's
Yes.
nothing they have to
Yes.
do. And people might say, "Well, can't you come up with?" They know the day is over.
Yes, and you're done.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
So like,
and you have different grades. You have different. It's not just your class, right? Or
it
is
is
just your class?
well that changes.
I agree.
From
Okay.
different groups. Mine now is just my kids,
Okay.
which is
Makes it a little better. Yes.
versus like kids from random spots
Yes.
coming to you. But we've been doing silent ball for weeks now. During
I
that
love
time,
silent ball lessons.
they love it too, and it has changed our lives during that
Yeah.
time because
Yeah.
it's something they're
Yeah.
supposed to be quiet.
And they're doing something.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it can be hard for them to be in your room
Yeah.
for
I
even
know.
5
Because they're
10
ready
minutes.
to go,
Yes,
and that 5 minutes feels like forever.
yes,
It's because I remember because we all come together after when I taught first grade, and buses would come out in the pod. They would stand in their lines,
Mhm.
but sometimes that 5 to 10 minutes felt like
yes,
eternity.
yes,
Now, if I'm walking just my own class out,
yes.
I like that because that goes back to how to behave for me.
Yes.
I'm not putting up with it. You know how to.
Right.
When you have other kids' class, sometimes they're allowed to be silly and goofy, and you're like,
Mhm.
that's not going to work for me.
Yeah. So
But I don't think
it's gonna be a
I'm still
toss-up.
going to put it on the good list. But I think it depends.
I'm gonna put it in the middle area because I've experienced
Bad, good.
both sections of it.
Okay.
And because if it's your homeroom group and you have anybody that's, let's say, doesn't make great decisions,
Yes.
and then they feel like it's free, even though
I
they know
know.
your
Yes.
expectations, sometimes it's a lot.
It's a lot. All right. I'm going to go with duties that I think are not so great.
Okay.
Hands down, lunch duty.
I knew that was coming.
But let me tell you why.
Mm.
I've done kindergarten the last 3 years. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the kindergarten's hard because you have to open up. They can't do anything themselves. Anything.
Hey,
And they're messy.
PSA for parents.
Yes. Train early.
Train your kids how to open things.
And listen,
Don't do
don't
everything.
buy the nacho Lunchables. The cheese and salsa goes everywhere when you open it up. They can't do it. It's a mess. Or the pizza. It's a mess.
Oh yeah.
Just bring the peanut butter and jelly sandwich or the lunch. But anyway, that's tricky. But this is why it's hard. When you're not the one that's in charge, like you're not the main boss,
Yes.
it's hard.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean they're doing it the wrong way, but you have the way you like things done.
Yeah,
You know what I
they
mean?
all do.
And when there's several of us in there, it kind of depends. Sometimes I'm not there, and it's just hard when you're not the only one in charge of it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just loud.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, we don't sit quietly and talk at lunch and not say a word.
Right.
So kids are not going to.
Yeah.
So you put 120 kids in a lunchroom, and even if they're talking at level 1 or 2, it's loud.
Yeah.
They get silly. And for kindergarten, you guys, I know parents love to, because I've seen it on Chit Chat, love to get on there and be like, they only get 22 minutes for lunch. Trust me, that's about 12 minutes too long for kindergarten. Like, you know what I mean? Like, after about 10 minutes, 15, they're done.
Yeah.
So then it's playtime. It's stabbing their apple with a fork and chasing each other in the head like, that happened today. And let's think about another thing that's horrible about lunch duty. When you have lunch duty and you have ranch, mustard, ketchup, and something else, and you're trying to squirt all these on it's horrible. Listen, there should be a no 3 squirter ever. Never. 2 or less.
Yeah.
Listen, it's a rough world. If you don't like ketchup and ranch, then you just don't get mustard today. That's life.
Yeah.
There should
It's
be a
fine.
thing. But it's a tricky. And I don't know any answers for good lunch duty.
I don't either.
And listen, the people that tell you that lunch duty is not fine, it's because they don't do it. They're a liar.
That people tell you that it's fine.
I think someone's like, I don't mind doing lunch duty. Of course you don't mind doing lunch. You know why? Because you don't do it.
What in the world?
That-
I haven't done lunch duty I think when I first started teaching, we had to go to lunch with our kids.
Ooh.
Or it feels like we did.
Yeah. Could be a
I
lie.
feel like it was like my first year
Yeah, well,
teaching period.
Yeah.
And I felt like we had to go down there. I know that I have went down when my kids had been naughty at lunch,
Yes.
and I have sat with them,
Yeah.
and we have had. It's not a fun lunch experience for any of us, and I let them know I'm not having fun here, and I'm missing talking to my friends because you couldn't handle lunch.
And I'm going to say something else for teachers.
Yes.
I also think it's hard when we tell teachers your kids weren't good at lunch, because you could talk to them till they're blue in their face, but when you drop them off, I don't feel like it's as much your responsibility anymore.
Yeah.
Now, you might have to go in and practice, but you know what I mean? You can only do so much. So I want you to know I don't blame teachers for this. It's just a hard duty.
It is hard.
Just a hard duty.
I agree with
What?
that. And so,
Okay. My
good for
next
those.
one,
parent pickup.
morning or outside duty, like pickups.
Pickups.
Listen, I had to do this 3 years ago, a morning duty.
Mm-hmm.
It is raining. It is cold. It is miserable. I remember, I was telling them, I remember that I had to buy a poncho because you couldn't use an umbrella, because you know why? The wind would blow it off, and it'd be that when your umbrella goes upwards like that.
Oh my gosh.
And it was horrible. And I would be so cold, and I like to wear dresses and skirts, and I remember I would tie it in a knot way up here.
Yep.
And then wear my tall boots and my poncho that covers so good.
Uh-huh.
And I would still come in soaking wet sometimes.
So,
And you have to stand out there for like 25 minutes. Yeah. Your hands are cold, you're freezing. And then your parents say, bye, I love you to their kids. And you say, I love you too, because you don't even know you're so cold out there. You're like, I'm sorry, I said I love you. That's not true.
It's fine.
It's
you love everybody. Well, here's my thing with that. So this was a year when I think we rotated. Like for one quarter, you would be bus duty,
Yes.
and then you would do parent pickup duty. And
yeah.
during that time, I actually really liked parent pickup, but we had a day that was raining like crazy. It was coming from the side.
Yeah.
People had umbrellas,
yes.
but the umbrellas flew out. They were broken, and you were sitting there still like, come get your kid. Yeah. And we were actually over in this building's parking lot. That's when they did the parent pickup over here. And so we were doing that. So we had to walk across the parking lot to get to the area with the kids. It was doing that. And then, I won't say names with this, but there were teachers that had on like thinner khaki pants, white shirts. And people literally walked into the building wringing their pants.
I remember doing that many times.
But it's a great story. I still picture it.
And I will say, when I had morning duty, there was nothing better than greeting those people, being the first person they saw get out of the car and be like, good morning, and get to see my kiddos. So I loved the duty.
Yeah.
I do not love the weather, bad weather. Now, the afternoon is the same thing, but it is a little bit warmer by then.
Yeah.
And, you don't have as much seem like it was as rainy and nasty in the afternoon.
Yeah.
But that morning, woo. But listen, I still put lunches behind the hint.
I think lunch duty has to be the worst.
I think it goes down.
I mean, you can let us know if that's not, in your opinion, what other options we aren't considering. But I think it would be the worst. I didn't mind parent pickup when I did that, but I've never done morning duty. Sean, that's why he likes coffee now, because he used to have to do that quite often. And
outside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're a principal, you got to do that stuff. So he's not anymore, by the way, but he's not a principal anymore. Let's not get any things crossed within that. But he had to do that, and you live and you learn with it.
You do live and learn,
but I will tell you, our building principal, after that happened, they went and bought rain suits for people, enough for the people that would have duties. I mean, like morning or afternoon. Yeah. But they bought these, and they were yellow.
Yeah.
And it was a jacket and pants, but they were large ones that didn't fit anybody unless they were 6'3".
Hey, listen, that would cover the whole thing. I would take it.
My
listen,
gosh.
I would take it.
It fit Chad Ferguson, I think. And I don't even know that it fit Chad Ferguson.
Listen, I would dream of that, because I hated when I got so wet. I would have been so thankful for that, honestly.
So let's see if we can locate one for you.
Yes, could you pass it on?
Are you going to change duties?
You know what? I've been the walker door. We didn't even talk about that one for the last 2 years after school. It is actually an awesome duty, because it's a quick one.
Yeah.
You're always inside. I open the door. I'm the one that calls names. So I do have to kind of stand out there, but I'm not in the rain or anything.
Yeah.
The tricky thing is, especially at the beginning of the year in kindergarten, I have to recognize all the parents and make sure that's who can pick them up. And I got to check the back of their cards. So to get the first few months, it's tricky.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, is that her mom or is that?
Oh,
and you're
gosh.
like, you don't want to seem like they think you should know them, but I'm
Right.
like, I don't know.
That is hard.
So, so anyway, so the best and the worst of duties. And I have to tell you a funny thing about the duties. I should have started off when I was teaching first grade.
Mhm.
Jobica Albright. Did you have Jobica?
Mm-mm.
She's graduated. And,
Yeah.
And so one time she was in the bathroom with me and she said, Miss Sammons, do you have recess duty? And I said, you bet your booty I have duty, which is really inappropriate. And so I had to say, come back to her and said, you know what, Jobica, that was actually really inappropriate. I'm sorry.
You bet your booty I got
So
duty.
that's what it makes me think of when I think of this. You bet your booty I got duty.
Oh, now I can't. Now I can't unthink that. Now anytime I was thinking
What
about
if I talk to
poo,
you?
but now I'm gonna be thinking booty
Yep.
duty.
Can't help it. So
Oh my god.
So listen, my challenge for you this week is for one of those people in your building that has the worst duties that we talked about.
Yeah.
Lunch duty,
Mhm.
morning duty, outside thing. Maybe just tell them how much you appreciate them when you see them in the hall. That you know it's not the best duty, but you appreciate them having a good attitude.
Yeah.
And do
You
that.
could bring them a soda.
Honestly, that would be so nice because I just
Popcorn.
think
Candy bar.
because I think that sometimes as people, and even for myself, they don't realize how hard. Like if you never had to do
Yeah.
outside morning duty or lunch duty, you're not realizing how hard it is. You just take it for granted. You drop
Yeah.
your kids off and you go.
Go with life.
And sometimes people just need to feel appreciated. So you know what?
I like
That's my
that.
challenge this week for you.
I love
so.
it.
Well, listen, we hope you have an amazing week. We hope you have the best duties that there is. But if you don't have it, guess what?
Trade them out.
Maybe next year will be better. You
Figure out how to make somebody else do it.
Start kissing up to a different person
That's
because
right.
you need to switch around. So, all right. Well, we hope you have a great day. This is Listen.
Leave your chatter.
This is Robin.
And Jill.